recognize now that we have a position of power. Money talks and BS walks. Money talks and BS walks. And I think you know what I'm talking about. So with us being able to bring to the table here, just looking at the minimum, 1.5 billion a year. And what we are shooting for, now don't get me wrong, I'm not just talking, I know some of you in the audience that I know very well and familiar with, it said that he's probably just talking about money, he's talking about money, he's talking about money, and he's not talking about our ordeal, the tragedy of the transatlantic slave trade. We'll get to that. We know, and government know, that we didn't take Ghana Airways or Delta Airways to get to America. There were slave ships that took us from here against our will and kidnapping our people to get over there. So basically what I'm saying, there is a two-dimension approach on getting our citizenship. One of the dimensions of the approach is we're talking about the monetary value of us as bringing added value to the GDP of Ghana. The other dimensional approach is that we are connected to Ghana because Ghana had, at the peak of slavery, the 400 years transatlantic slave trade, there were 66 slave ports from Senegal down to Angola. That's a humongous distance. And would you know that the Gold Coast, which is Ghana today, had 46 of the 66. So you do your mathematics. The number of us who went out. We either are from Ghana or we came through Ghana by being captured to take over. So Ghana has a certain responsibility to recognize us as their sons and daughters who were kidnapped from this land and taken out. Do you understand me? So on the same monetary dimension, we are looking at our community in its totality. Now I want you to hear me on this particular point. Most of the Africans of the diaspora, and I want to be specific, and we should never forget when we mention the diaspora. Our experience is unique because there are about 3 different dimensions of diaspora. You got diasporans who left because of the days of political turmoil and economic turmoil. They left and ran away. We got another diaspora historically, even before there was statehood, that was crossing and there were no borders. That's a diaspora. But that third tier of diaspora is the major recognized one. That one is the kidnapped children of Africa who were taken against their will and put into captivity for over 400 years under the transatlantic slave trade. So let us not forget that. And of that, when we look at the economic viability, we know that, let's say 100% of Africans of the diaspora who are repatriating back to Ghana, we know that about 75 to 80% of that number are retirees on pensions. You don't see no teenagers from America or Jamaica coming to settle here. You see people in the age from, let's say, 40 years on up to the 70s. And these brothers and sisters have a pension, and they're receiving a pension anywhere from $1,000 a month up to $6,000 a month. And that money is going to be spent in Ghana. So if we're talking about 75 to 80% of our people who repatriate, and they are pensioners, and they're receiving a pension anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000 a month, you do the mathematics. And especially if you're looking at 100% of the total numbers that we are. And according to the African American Association of Ghana, the former President Brenda Joyce say we're anywhere between 10 and 15,000. So let's take the low end. Only if we're 10,000. And we're spending anywhere, we're getting somewhere $1,000, $6,000 a month. Well, you factor that on a spreadsheet of 12 months, and 80% of that 100%, you know what I mean, are pensioners. You're talking about over $1 billion a year. And you're not even talking about Western Union. And you know what Western Union is. All of us know. You're not even talking about Moneygram, bank transfers. You're not even talking about our people who have established businesses here, educational institutions. You know, we are not beggars. Let's get one thing straight. The African of the diaspora of the transatlantic slave trade coming here is not a beggar. We are coming here with skills and bringing added value to this economy. That has to be clear. So having said that, brothers and sisters, I'm looking to try, now this is experimental, but we want to say at the end of the year, let's say if we're talking about, can I use a name, please? Let's say if we say Sister Nzinga. Sister Nzinga is valued as spending $60,000 a year in Ghana, with your upkeep and all. You understand me? So if we multiply that each one is spending about and we know that's a low figure. Many of us know that, even myself. I don't consider myself to be financially empowered, but I know $60,000 a year. I'm sure that I put that for living, paying rent, you understand what I mean? Food, getting on the tro-tro, taking a taxi, dropping, all of that, add that together. Big money. And it's going not to America, it's going to Ghana. But see, if you're splintered and you're fragmented and disorganized, government say, you don't give a hoot. But if you united and say, we are putting about $2 billion a year, and we could even bring more through tourism development by being ambassadors for Ghana in tourism for our brothers and sisters in Canada, in Britain, in the USA, in Brazil, in Jamaica. We could bring all of them here, and that revenue, whoo! But what are we going to get in return? Is thank you, Madasi P, Madasi Pa, bye-bye, you're a tourist. We don't want to be tourists. You only can be effective when you are a citizen of this country, and you abide by the laws of the country, and you and swear your allegiance to protect Ghana and defend Ghana. That is the beauty of being a citizen of this state. Can I get a clap for that, please? I know we are running late. My bosom buddy here. Yes. But what I wanted to do was have an interlude to prime you a little bit before we get to the meat of the program with the heavy speakers, because they have a heavy message to deliver. So the public address man, can we get, and we have to give respect. Let me recognition here, because we have to give respect to the genesis of the reason that we are here. I want to give respect to the former head of state, Jerry John Rawlings. Jerry John Rawlings brought emancipation to Ghana. And that was the beginning of the road for citizenship. On the 1st of August, 1998. And of course, the total package of the emancipation brought to Ghana was inclusive of Asin Manso, which we just did a big program up there yesterday. And it was humongous, believe me. Because we have 2 African transatlantic slave trade descendants reinterred or entombed in Asin Manso. And all of us here need to patronize that burial site, because that burial site is basically the heartbeat of legitimizing us on our return. Because what Ghana did to those and Asin Manso who are buried there, they were the dead. If Ghana can give citizenship to the dead, why can't Ghana give citizenship to the living and the ones who are alive? So Jerry John Rawlings made those two citizens in 1998. Is this correct? Those of you who were around in 1998. So we give thanks and praise, and of course I have to recognize the Queen Mother of Development. So it'd be no mistake that anybody say I'm claiming that the Queen Mother that was in stool, which I'm speaking of a Jamaican sister, Mignon Phillips. She was in stool by the late Paramount Chief, Nana Barima Inchi the 12th. Kwame Barima Inchi the 12th. And she was in stool as the development Queen Mother. But unfortunately, she has succumbed to a major stroke. She's in Kingston, can hardly talk, can hardly walk. But this lady played a major part in bringing to the recognition to the government of Ghana our plight of having spent 400 years in captivity. Now also there's the African American individual of the late, the name of this individual that is entombed side by side with the Jamaican individual up at Asin Manso is Samuel Carson. And I believe his great-great-grandson, who I had the privilege, and many of you do, some years ago, we met him, but I understand he has passed away. Sonny Carson. So you see the duality of Asin Manso. There's a female entombed named Crystal. There's a male entombed named Samuel. And they are spiritually and philosophically the very heartbeat of what we are trying to accomplish. The government has recognized them and has made that site a national heritage. And even UNESCO will pick up on that of the United Nations, that is a very important site. And I encourage all of you to visit Asin Manso. And Asin Manso now is a part of our program. And let me land while we are here. And I'm going to sit down. The reason that we are here is that we as Africans of the diaspora who are returning, we have not been able to let Ghanaians know what, and Ghanaians have been asking, what is your reason for being here? Why are you coming? So we need, if we're going to be serious, we need to join the Ghanaian family. And of course, we don't have a village that we can claim per se as our own by virtue of being kidnapped and taken away. We don't have a village. But what we can do and what we are doing, and that is the reason we are here today, we are establishing and inaugurating in Ghana for the first time in the history of the diaspora, a diaspora festival called Right to Return. That festival is launched today, Right to Return. And that is equal to our Homowo. If you know what the Homowo Festival is, this is our Homowo. We will have this festival every year, 3 to 5 days, leading up to the climax on the 28th of December, which was that famous day that we should have in eternity in our mind, when the former head of state bestowed 34 citizenship on Africans of the diaspora of the transatlantic slave trade and said, I am not giving you anything. This is your right. Your right was taken away from you, so you have the right to return. So, having said that, that is the reason that we are here today. From the day on, we will celebrate this every year from around 23rd of December, and it will climax on the 28th. And Asin Manso will be the 27th of December celebration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I think it's only fair at this stage that we just have an interlude before we get to the main speakers.